till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
In today's video, hey guys, my name is Longnose and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be going over the best settings for 1080p recording and live streaming. If you do not have a solid computer, do not follow these tips and tricks. Make sure to go and check out. I'm going to be doing a 720p one later this week. So make sure to go down and subscribe to the channel with notifications on if you want me to release one for best for 720p. And today we are doing 1080p, so let's see if we can get 25 likes on this video. It was very helpful. So this is going to show you guys what is better, what's the best settings, and what do I record in. What I use OBS to record, and then I use Streamlabs OBS to live stream. But I'm going to just show you today OBS Studios. So I usually use OBS for like basic live streaming, like 1080-30 or recording 1080-30. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you over my settings, and then I'm going to go over to points what you need in your videos to make the best 1080p recordings like amazing. Okay. So if you go into your settings, you go down to output. That's the streaming side, by the way. Let's go into recording. So this is what my settings are like. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So I have type is standard. My recordings go into my other hard drive. So not my main hard drive, only has like 320 gig. It goes into my secondary, which has 500 gig. Recording format in MP4. Usual. And then I put my graphics card. By the way, if you put X264, that is using the power of your CPU and it will not make smoothness. So I prefer to go for a high AMD graphics card, definitely like a 4 gig graphics or 8 gig graphics. But if you like wanting to stream and play games on the same computer, I definitely prefer an 8 gig graphics card. I have the RX 580 Black Edition, so if you guys want to, that's an okay card. It's a pretty good card. And then here for preset, mine I've selected it as recording because then it's recording. And then quality present is balanced, so you can see the balanced quality of these videos. It's perfect. Okay. Underneath there's pre-pass mode. I leave it disabled because there's no point of it. There's no point. It will not help any of your recordings. And then here, target bitrate. So for some reason mine keeps setting it as 10,000 as its target, and then its peak at 9,000. So if you go for like 20,000 and 19,000, you've got to have a really strong PC. Mine's not really strong. Mine's a medium on the on this one. Okay, so keyframe, leave it as 2.00. That would be alright. And let's leave it basic because I don't really want to go and confuse you all and get you to change like a lot of settings what probably will not work on your computer. Anyway, let's go down to video. I didn't do my hair. For some reason I set mine as 1280 by 720. It's because later on I will be testing out a live stream on Mixer, and Mixer prefers 720p live streams and sometimes 1080, but with terrible internet it will be mostly 720p. I ain't got terrible internet, it's alright, but yeah. For 1080p you need to set your base and output as 1920 by 1080, but if you don't have a monitor what is 1080p, to check that if you, okay, let me apply that. Okay, to check that you have a 1080p screen, go to display settings. If you go to display settings, and then if you put identifying, see my first monitor for some reason is number 2. You can see recommended, I can go for 1920 by 1080. It can do 4K, 1440p, but just rely on the graphics card's power on your system let's go back to OBS. I've opened 2 OBSs. So now you have your 1080p here. Let's go back into settings. So you can see downscale filter. You can see I have it at 16 samples. If you go any higher, you have to have a really powerful system. I mean, like 8-core CPU from AMD or Intel. At least 16 or 32 gigs of RAM. And a really good GPU. Okay, so here you can see common FPS values. You can mess around with them, but I prefer 30, or if you have like a quad core, 4-core, 4-thread, I prefer 1080 50. It will help out a little bit of the buffer. Sometimes it will buffer, so if you just mess around with some of these settings between 50 and 30, you'll get the basic one. But yeah, I'm going to put mine back to how it was at the very start, because I don't really want to mess around with my settings and then have to mess around with them again. So I stream in 1080 on YouTube, because I use Streamlabs OBS, so it's this one down here on my taskbar. I will be streaming on Mixer with OBS itself, so you'll see a little bit like 720p only. Streamlabs will do 1080 60 smoother than OBS would at 1080 60. So that's why I prefer Streamlabs OBS for YouTube streaming, and Mixer and Twitch streaming I prefer OBS. It's mostly because I don't know why, but like it's better for like quality content, and that's all you need for live streaming. But mostly that's the only thing you'll need to mess around with is recording section here. Just mess around with that. Get it as standard as you can, but make sure your target bitrate is higher than your peak bitrate. And make sure if you are trying to record in 1080 or stream, select at least 1080 30. Don't go as 1080 60 if you don't have an 8-core CPU or a strong quad-core, what is 4-core, 8-thread. Just don't go as far as 30 FPS if you only have 4-core, 4-thread, or 2-core, 4-thread. Some quad cores act like, some quad cores do say 2-core, 4-thread, but it's mostly a quad core anyway. But yeah, that's it. This is the tip. Hopefully it helps you get onto the basic recordings, and hopefully it helps you out on your YouTube journey to help you push to 1080p if you have good quality. PC, if you have a good PC, make sure to use these settings. It will help out. Don't push your computer. I'm going to put recommended on the screen here. I recommend at least the i3-8100 as a quad core. This is minimum. I'm going to put minimum on quickly. So a Core i3-8100 or an AMD A8 5600K will be amazing. 16 gigs of RAM if you are wanting to push the gaming up with these CPUs. I don't prefer the Intel Core i3, so I'm going to say a Core i5. I haven't used Intel, so I don't know what the numbers are in the Core i5, but A5600K is stronger than the Core i3-8100 on recording, and it's multi-core. Its multi-core is quick on the 5600K on AMD. It's pretty good. Yeah. But if you are wanting to like stream game with the chat and watch and put music on, I do recommend a Core i7 8700K, or is it 86? No, 8700K. At least 32 gigs of RAM and at least 8 gig graphics cards like a GTX 1080 or RX 580. Both of them will be pretty good graphics cards if you want to do all them. And if you're just wanting to use it for recording, or just use it for basic work and record some videos, I do prefer the Core i5 and AMD A8. I haven't used the AMD A9, so I don't know what the performance is there, but I know my A8 does push ahead on some A9s, some A10s, some A12s, so it pushes ahead. But I do prefer the FX 8350 as well. That's my next upgrade I'm going to be putting in this. So if you guys want some high-end tips and what is better for high-end systems, please let me know in the comment section down below. I do prefer OBS for recording, but I don't prefer it for live streaming. So yeah, hopefully this video has helped you out with such a journey out to 1080p. And if you want to just stream, just make sure you have a quad core with like 16 gigs of RAM and RX 5e. If you literally just do that and you want to play Fortnite, I don't prefer the 5600K for AMD. I know it'll be like, oh, this 5600K can play at 60 FPS while not streaming. Sometimes it can buffer. So I do prefer 16 gigs of RAM with a higher AMD CPU. But if you're looking for an Intel side, just look at Core i5s and Core i7s. They should get you locked in, but try and not look below the 7700K because you'll get bad performance at that point. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if this helped you push your recordings up to 1080p, make sure to like the video, share it out with your friends, share it out with your family, share it out with anyone who this will help. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!